Hey everybody, welcome back to War 8 of Season 26. I'm fighting for the Alliance SAS, and for this war we are matched up against NewN, also known as New Nation. I believe they are a top 3 war alliance in the game. They are super consistent, tons of good sharp war players. They do have a friend of mine in Char over there. I'll post this link in the description. He makes awesome war content. I learn a ton from his videos. But it's going to be a good challenge here. I have 9 fights here. This is a pretty heavy war in terms of volume. We're taking Path 6 in Section 1, where we're taking a Darkhawk on Aggression Fury, Massacre on Power Focus 1, then the Shared Storm Mechs before hopping to the Power Snack Beanie, where we're taking a Thor Ragnarok. Then we're skipping over to Path 1 in Section 2, where we're taking a Mr. Fantastic, followed by a Champion, and then a Iron Man Infinity War as the Shared, and then a Void and Sim Supreme on Mini Boss Island. So here are the attackers. We're bringing in Archangel as per usual. He's taken on 5 of our 9 fights, taking on that heavy lifting. He's at rank 3, Sig level 20. Massacre, Thor Ragnarok, Mr. Fantastic, Void, and Sim Supreme. He's going to take on those fights. Magneto, he's at rank 3. He's going to take on both metal fights that I have, Darkhawk and Iron Man Infinity War. And to round out the team, we're bringing in Trusty Quake. She's at rank 5. She's going to take on Storm Pyramid X and the Champion in Section 2. So here we go. Node 3, Aggression Fury, Strike Back. This plan is super simple. Magneto versus a Bleed Immune robot. Get to your SP3, win the game. The only thing I have to keep an eye on are the Fury stacks from Aggression Fury. The chances of them getting out of hand, I think, are really, really low. Since Magneto's 70% ability accuracy reduction, that's going to be stopping them from stacking the majority of the time. But regardless, that is the one threat in the fight that I have to look out for. But we're off to a really good start here. You can see every heavy is going to be doing a significant amount of damage. We're going to bait his SP1, and I don't really have to worry about dexing it. There's really no issue. He's got pretty much next to no Fury stacks, should do minimal chip damage, and there's no point in complicating what should be a super, super simple fight. We are almost at 2 bars of power, and the moment I get to that special 3, I'll launch it. I think it's I'm going to start doubling my prowess soon as I approach that 3rd bar of power. But the AI is playing really well. For me, at least, he's being really aggressive in throwing that special 1. I don't have to spend a lot of time baiting and potentially letting those Fury stacks get up. But there you go. 12 hits in, get to my special 3. I'm going to launch it, and this is just going to nuke him. There we go. So there's that first fight down. Really good to get that first one out of the way. And we are headed towards the Massacre, just the next fight on the path. Not much to worry about here with Archangel. He's got Power Alternator, Power Focus 1, Massacre's Special 1. Super easy to evade. You just back the heck out of the way, let him do his thing. So Archangel is in Muggle mode here, meaning he is not a Horseman. He will become a Horseman later on in the war. So I do have to keep an eye on Power Alternator. Really not a big deal. If he does get to that Special 2, I've got to be able to dex it, taking that into the block and get super hairy. But really, I'm not worried about this fight too much. Just a bread and butter parry heavy fight. Let your neuros stack up and carry you to the finish line. Really good start there. We get a lot of bleeds, stack our first poison, but we only get 1 neurotoxin. That's all right. 1 neurotoxin is still ticking him down. As you can see, he's starting to melt. And this is where the fight kind of just gets closed out. Past that halfway mark, we're stacking a bunch of neurotoxins now, so all I have to do is just back off and let him melt away. And there we go. There's that second fight down. 7 more to go. The third fight on Section 1 is the Shared Mini. It is a Storm Pyramid X with Steady Build-Up Fury, Power Alternator, and Heavy Hitter. Pretty much all nodes that Quake doesn't need to pay attention to. So this is just going to be a normal bread and butter Quake fight. So everything is in my hands as long as I play consistently and cleanly with, and I'm planning to play the deck style here. As long as I don't mess up, as long as I don't suck, I'll get through this fight completely fine. Dueled Storm X a bit. I haven't really Quaked her in the past, but her animations are fairly predictable, so I felt pretty comfortable Quaking her. No big deal. Suicides are off, so hopefully we keep that full yellow bar the entire fight. Storm X does have a really small health pool, so that's always nice to see when quaking, just seeing those giant chunks of health come off every aftershock cycle. Looks like 1 or 2 more cycles should clear it out here. Looks like it's just going to be that one more. I probably could have dropped a heavy or just attacked into her to finish the fight, but that's all good. She goes down. There's our section 1 path done. And before we head over to section 2, we're going to fight a Thor Ragnarok on node 22. He's got Power Snack, Backup Recovery, and Outlast. He's now going to be a Horseman. The homie Ink, he brought Apocalypse, and he was able to drop off a pre-fight here. So the game plan here, we'll throw my SP1 when he's at 17 charges, just to stop that power gain from getting out of hand. And I'm going to try and just block the entire special 1. If he throws it, hopefully I'll have enough bleed stacked on him from being a Horseman that I can just stack a bunch of poisons, and that's going to make closing out the fight with neurotoxins a lot easier. So this should be pretty comfortable. I fought Thor Rags a bunch this season, and I kind of have all the important windows of the fight down. So he's a Horseman. Get off to a great start, stacking a bunch of bleeds. We have a bunch of neurotoxins right off the bat, and that's as good of a start as I can ask for. And things kind of just start to snowball. I am keeping an eye on the power gain charges. When I get to that 17-18 point, I'm going to throw my special. Archangel special 1 has a 4 hits, so that's going to bring him past that 20 hit threshold. As you can see, I blocked every hit of the SP1 and got a good amount of poisons. Turns out I don't have to throw a special. That's how much of a monster Archangel is. So there's 4 fights down. They all go super smooth. That's a really good start to the war. They were all fairly straightforward fights. So hopefully we keep that train rolling. We are rocking over to section 2 on path 1, where we have a Mr. Fantastic with Vigor and Indomitable. We're going to use Archangel. He's a Horseman, and he's just really good. There's not much to this fight here other than very heavy, let your neuros do the work. Don't overcomplicate things. Get through this fight cleanly. Really nothing to worry about. Mr. Fantastic Special 1 is pretty easy to dex. So as long as I'm focused on the right things, there should be a few threats that put me in trouble here. But we're off to a great start. He's at 3 neurotoxins, and he's just melting away here. Don't have to worry about Vigor or Indomitable. The neurotoxins will shut that off. And there you go. There's that fight down. The second fight in section 2, it's going to be a champion on buffet 15% and LIONHEART. If you're playing clean with Quake, this fight really doesn't matter. I just can't drop any heavies and give him more regen. He's gonna have a bunch of fury stacks at some point in the fight too, just from his persistent charges. So if I get hit during that, it could get a little bit hairy. But as long as I'm playing clean with Quake, I should be able to get in and get out. Dueled him a little bit just to get used to his animations. Didn't find anything that was too stressful. The champion does spend a lot of this fight really close to me, playing fairly aggressive, so I don't think the aftershock charges stacked up to what it could be, but that's all good as long as we're taking it slow and staying relaxed and composed. We're gonna be all right. Looking at that full yellow bar, that's always super comforting as well. So we're halfway through the fight. We're in pretty good shape. Got a pretty good rhythm with his animations. Haven't seen anything that's too stressful. I think he does gain a bunch of furies at some point, which can get a little bit scary if you drop your combo. Yeah, right there. So there you go. He's got a bunch of furies. Didn't last very long. We were able to continue quaking, and looks like one more cycle is going to finish him. There we go. We get through that fairly well. So I think we have 3 more fights here. This next one should be pretty straightforward as well. We have a Iron Man Infinity War on node 46. That's strike counter, combat power rate, buffet 15%, and boost buff. All pretty irrelevant when you're fighting him with Magneto. The game plan here, we're just gonna fit in our heavies whenever we can. Reparry, heavy counter, blah blah blah. I'm sure you know all the different windows to take advantage of when you're fighting Iron Man Infinity War. I do have points in despair, so I think we should be able to get a little bit of heal reversal from the buffet and the magnetism ability. But regardless, We're not really worried here. I think everybody at this point is super used to fighting Iron Man Infinity War. He's no longer the defender that he was when he first came out. So yeah, there you go. It looks like a decent amount of chunk, or a decent chunk of his health kind of flew off there because of the heal reversal and despair. We're stacking up the suppression debuffs or passives. We don't really care. We don't really need our specials here. We can just parry heavy him to death. Magneto is honestly too good at some points. He's really simple to play and extremely powerful. We're not worried at all here. We're halfway through. Haven't run into a threat yet. I think we're going to try and fire off that special too, just to see if we can finish him and get out of the fight. Right there. Fortunately, it doesn't crit, but that's all good. He's got no armor. We don't have to worry about that 15%, and he's done with the heavy. So there's our section 2 done. We have 2 more fights in the war here, both on Boss Island. The first one being a Void, a Break 3 Void on Node 51. He's got Hurt Locker, Power Focus 1, Enhanced Special 1, Power Drain. So here, I know that for Neurotoxin, they're going to shut off his debuffs completely. I haven't really fought Void on this node, so I don't know how scary those Intimidating Presence debuffs can get if they do stack up, but I know that if one does sneak through, don't panic. I'll eventually hit that 10-hit threshold to shrug him off. And yeah, I'll just kind of let Archangel do his thing. He is a Horseman, so it shouldn't be an issue to stack up the bleeds and then get poisons and then get those neurotoxins rolling. I should try at some point to kind of stick to reparries just to maximize the amount of poisons I inflict on him, but I think he's going to throw his heavy a bunch when I try to reparry. Decent start here. We get a good amount of bleeds on. There's our first poison, so once I get that rolling, we'll be alright. He does get a Petrify on me, and it's not doing too much damage, so we purify it after that heavy, so no big deal. I know that there's no real reason to panic if he slips through and a debuff does stack through on me. Throws his SP1, really easy dex, no worries there. We're at a bunch of neuros. I think one of his debuffs actually failed to apply, and we were less than 4 neurotoxins, so a little bit of good luck on our side. I'm going to miss a parry here or there, but thankfully I was a Horseman, so I go unblockable. The only crits I pay is a little bit of chunk off my health, so a little bit of potions. That's all good. Get through that fight without a worry, leaving us with 1 fight left in the war. This is our 9th fight. Just a step ahead, we have a Symbiote Supreme on Node 54, Aspect of Evo, Enhanced Special 2, bunch of power gain nodes, really common placement, usually sees some sort of Mystic. Really thankful that I get to bring Archangel here. We've done this once before in the season and it went super smoothly. I'm going to use an invuln boost here, just for safety, because you never know, like, in my head, if RNG goes the wrong way, I end up having to eat a special 3. I'd rather be safe, especially because the war was really close here. And I definitely don't want this fight to be the decider if I end up pushing him to a special 3. So, Horseman Archangel, please take the wheel here. Get off to a good start. There you go, poisons off that first little part of the fight. He's at 3 neuros. Now he's at 4, and this fight is pretty much over. He's at 6 bleeds, so every contact to our block is going to stack poison, and he's just melting away. He threw his SP1, which is pretty cool. That's nice. Kind of takes away the worry of him actually getting to the special 3, and before I know it, he drops, he melts. So that's the end of our war. We had 9 fights. Archangel, as per usual, hard carrying, absolute monster. I was really glad we were able to get through that war cleanly without giving up an attack bonus. Good to rebound after the rough one that I had last war. So it turns out we actually tied NewN. I believe SAS tied NewN last season as well. We tied this season 4-4. Good war to them. Sucks that ties scored the way they are, where it's essentially a loss for both alliances, but it is what it is. Hopefully, we can keep the train going with 4 wars left in the season. Thanks for stopping by. We'll catch you at War 9.